What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, we're going to talk about 10 stocks to buy, sell, or hold. And before the end of today's episode, we will discuss whether or not Lion Larry from the one and only MULN's is finally, after all these months, going to tell the truth. All that and more coming right up. All right, last trade on MULN's 91. If you're following me, it's almost 3:30 in the afternoon. 94 is the high on the day. I will cover the story that has been circulating since around 11:30 this morning. Mr. MULN says that MULN is going to get half of, yes, a $10 billion deal with the Saudis. But before we get there, I want to quickly, in a very casual manner, if I may, because it's not only Memorial Day weekend. Trading is open tomorrow, at least for the stock market. Everything's closed on Monday. Bonds shut down at 2 on Friday. I just got back from Five Guys. And a dear friend of mine, we have lunch at Five Guys. We got any Five Guys fans out there? I had this time, I not only had the loaded burger, the fries, the peanuts, orange Fantas out there with Zoo, but I had the loaded hot dog as well. So it's my intention to skip dinner tonight. But I feel like a beached whale, last trade 92 on MULN. So bear with me, but I want you to watch this over the week when you have some downtime, 2 or 3 times, because I'm going to simplify in easy to understand third grade language exactly what it takes to make a lot of money with yours truly over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years and beyond. First of all, from the investment side of the house, all you really need is the S&P 500. Or as I own, SPY. The SPY, the exchange traded fund ETF, has 500 companies in it. Some of the biggest in the entire world: Intel, Microsoft, Tesla, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't need anything else, because a little known fact on the S&P 500, since 1900, 90% of all investors, and that includes the greatest among Warren Buffett, fail to beat the S&P 500 on a consistent basis. Only 10% of traders in the last 12 to 18 months have crushed the S&P 500. So here's all you really need to do for upwards of 80% of your portfolio. For me, I've married half of my money to the stock market. You marry your mutual funds, you marry your ETFs, your index funds, and you date or trade your stocks. That's it. So between half, or in many cases for you, up to 80% of your money could it very well be in the S&P 500. If you want more leverage, I also own the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100, and the IWM, which is the Russell 2000. I recently, a few weeks ago, bought back ARKK, Kathy Woods. Can you believe she sold most of her NVIDIA yesterday before the $60 28% pop? What are you thinking, Kathy Woods? But I bought it at 35, last trade 38.5. I bought some IWM at 169.50. You would know that if you're following me on Twitter at TrySmallBiz, last trade 174.5. So here's the deal. All you need is SPY. One stock with 500 companies. If you don't have the discipline to add into an individual stock, get an index fund. Every brokerage firm has it. You marry it, you hold it, you buy it, you hold it forever. The key, in addition to holding until you need the money in retirement, is you double down, or if you can, you triple down during bear markets. Every 2.5 years, we have a bear market that on average since 1900 lasts 9.6 months. Half, however, lasts less than 4 months. Bear markets defined as a minus 20% or greater drawdown in a given average. So, as was the case last year, one of the worst bear markets in the first 6 months anyway, since 1970, you should have been buying IWM. You should have been buying SPY as low as 385. You could have been buying in the 275 range, the QQQ NASDAQ 100 last trade, in large part because of those 6 or 7 stocks, 340. So do not add more than your standard monthly contribution at this point into the SPY, the QQQ, the IWM. All you really need, to say it for the God knows how manyth time, is one stock, SPY. You effectively own 500 companies in one tradable security. You marry it, you don't sell it, but every 2.5 years or thereabouts, when we get a 20% or greater drawdown, You take your $100 a month and you make it 200. Or if you can, you make it 300. You cut back expenses. You get a cheaper cut of meat. You get the cheaper beer and or wine. You quit vaping. You cut back on the gambling. Fellas, you know what I'm telling you. When we have a bear market, and I'm going to be here to remind you of this for the next 25 or 30 years. Last year, we were up at 1.16x on our money. Most people didn't want to hear, oh, you got to buy the S&P 500. Fuck that. So I screwed up. Once again, I'm admitting how I screwed up by not telling you that you should have had 50 to 80% of your money married to the S&P 500, or in some cases, if you want more beta or juice, add in the QQQ and the IWM. So marry your marry your mutual funds, marry your index funds, marry your ETFs. You don't sell them until you have a need for the money in retirement. And then when we go into a 20% or greater drawdown, and it happens every 2.5 years on average, and it typically lasts for about 9 months, you double and triple up. That's all you need. You can fire your broker. They're going to hate the fact that I told you that. They're going to charge you an ungodly amount of money just to earn whatever it is that their fees are, because they've got to make you think that it's got to be complicated. In other words, you need them when in fact, all you really need is the S&P 500 and maybe 1 or 2 other ETFs. All right. In terms of whether you should buy, sell, or hold the following stocks, of which I think there are 6 or 7, they're all pinned on my Twitter at Try Small Biz. The green means you can buy it. The red means you can hold it. Right now, as I'm talking to you on Thursday, it is May the 25th. Everything's in the green, but do not chase more than 3 or 4% from where you see my average is. For example, I just bought UFAB this afternoon at 28 cents. They flushed the stops down. You may have seen that to 26 and change. It's been as high as 29 and a half. Uncle Fred Allen Bob, last trade 0.278. I own it a fraction under 28 cents. This is a very risky play. Do not put more than 10% into it, even though you may see that I own slightly more than that. It's a reorg. They have until October to either sell the company or reorganize their debt. So it's got a great chart in terms of a small cap, AKA penny stock. It broke out at a quarter, shot as high as almost 50 cents. We're buying it on the first major pullback. I love to do that. So Uncle Fred Allen Bob, 28 or lower. Don't put any more than 10% in it. Very risky play. CRKN, we got in yesterday. Charlie, Robert, Kevin, Nancy. They're based out of LA, a green company, if you will, smart window technology. I love this company. It's traded multiple times from as low as a nickel, believe it or not, to as high as 35 cents. In and around 15 cents, in my opinion. Last trade 0.158 is where you get into CRKN, because they're literally about to go from 0 to $300 or $400 million in revenue over the next 2 or 3 years. And the CEO, who also likes to do letters, and there's another one that's due out next week to the shareholders, is maniacal about protecting shareholder value. Whenever they do any offering, it's a tiny amount, 1 million, 1.5 million, just enough to get them through to the next quarter. But they recently closed, as of a few weeks ago, a $100 million credit line on CRKN. So I don't see any more dilution coming. I'm in at 15. You can buy it there or less. And again, don't chase. So if you want to pay right now 15 and a half, I'll christen that. But look to buy more if you can on a dip. CRKN, SHPH. We made what? 25 to 30% a couple of days ago. Got in at $1.03, got out at 157, which was yesterday's high. I bought it again this morning, and in typical manipulation fashion, they knocked the stock down to 111 in the pre-market. If you're up early, I got some at about 5 minutes after 7. I use E-Trade at 114. Last trade 126. Average right now for the second go around, actually that's 119. So SHPH, 118, 118 and a half as I'm doing this video, quarter to 4 to get all over it. Anywhere from 125, which I own it for the second time, to as low as 114 on the low pre-market is a screaming buy. This is a stock that did a reverse many, many months ago. It split adjusted down from $100 and I think $90. We can buy it right now at a buck and change. They've got an interesting pipeline, news coming over the next few months. It's a biotech shuttle pharmaceutical, SHPH. Right now, 118. It's a buy. And again, you can follow the pin tweet at Try Small Biz on Twitter. Trika, I'm a little concerned about this one. Everybody knows that there's either going to be a takeover. Roger, I mean, does the guy at GNS who started the whole short war fiasco, which I call a scam, is he even telling the truth? I don't think so. Remember when they ran the stock a few months ago to 35, I think it was, on supposedly GNS was going to buy TRKA? Well, that turned out to be absolute bullshit. We gave up 17, which was support. Now, the good news is last trade on TRKA, 1603, we filled a gap at 15 and change going back a few months. So all the gaps are filled. But from a bullish perspective, and I own the stock at 17 cents and change for the fourth time. I traded it 3 times in the last month, made 54%. If you add that with the SHPH and the other trade that escapes me at the moment because my belly is full, we've had over 120% gains recorded. And MMAT, I got out at 26 and change. It dropped to 21. By the way, shout out to the guy who told me I was an idiot for selling it at 26 and a half, because you could have bought it back, as I pointed out, at 0.217 this afternoon. So I think I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and you don't. By the way, have you guys ever noticed, before I finish out this video with MULNs and MCOM, have you ever noticed that a lot of people last trade on MULN 95? So something's going on. A lot of haters will accuse me of being short. No, I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for the small investor. I did the same with the SBA in the EIDL program. I take no prisoners. All politicians are full of shit. You should know that by now. It doesn't matter if they're on the left, the middle, or the right. They're all on the take. It's just a question from who. I just have the balls to say, wait a second, Sal, who runs MCOM, or David, who runs Mullins, I'm calling bullshit on the dilution. I'm calling bullshit on all the lies. I'm calling bullshit on X, Y, and Z. But for the moment, yes, MCOM is still the biggest pile of shit run by the worst CEO in NASDAQ history. Last trade 39 cents. However, MULN, here's the deal, folks. I am long both of those stocks. In fact, I'm long everything I just went through. At 1 in small change on MCOM, and I think 154 on MULN. So I'm down 50 or 60%, or at least I was as of yesterday. But at about 11:30 this morning, the one and only Lion Larry started circulating a number of interviews and private text messages. I got to tell you guys the following. I said at 118 a while ago, a week ago, that's enough. We're not buying anymore. It kept going lower, lower, and lower. We watched MULN go all the way down to 72 cents this morning, another all-time low. And then around 11:30, a story, a video, an article, I shared it from Newsy, starts circulating where Lion Larry, Harge and in charge, said that MULN is about to get 50% of a $10 billion deal with the Saudis. And he's told some people in private text messages, and they've been taking screenshots of this, that it's even bigger than $10 billion. So here's the deal. Take the emotions out of the equation. I said, don't buy at 118 because we were all already loaded up. I saved you over 40% in a drawdown to 72 cents. I, however, said, once it showed signs of life, and I put out multiple charts, if it broke 90, on the 10-minute chart, it's flipped from down to up. And we had what's a classic outside reversal, which is very bullish, meaning we set an all-time low at 72 cents. Then we reversed last trade 96 and took out the prior day's high. That is an extremely bullish formation. In the same breath, once we hit 94, I said it's okay to buy at 80 cents. It went then back down to 80 cents, and it sat between 80 and 82 for about an hour and a half. So once again, I was fucking right. So I told you not to buy at 118, but I am christening the buy as of 2 hours ago at 80 cents. I don't have any more liquidity. I'm already buried in up to my eyeballs. Last trade, 97 cents. So here's the deal. If there really is a deal with the Saudis. And I have to believe it includes multiple EV manufacturers, battery manufacturers, maybe mining companies, etc. It's well known that the Saudis are trying to diversify out of oil and get into this whole green new world that we're about to live in. If it's true that Lion Larry, who has told some absolute horrendous lies, including book deals, which he's been talking about for 5 years now, if this turns out to be true, then last trade 97 cents is cheap. If he's once again blowing smoke, and if you read the private text messages or watched that YouTube video from 2 hours ago, he said at the latest Tuesday. So the markets are closed Monday. We're going to be open tomorrow. I would anticipate, if this is true, it's going to be on fire tomorrow. It's going to reclaim $1. It may go up to where we own it. However, and I can't stress this enough, if this turns out to be a fucking farce, because 3 hours ago we were at another all-time low, then we're going right back there. And Larry's going to jail. Because, ladies and gentlemen, and I've been in the business, or I was anyway, for 15 years, trading for 30. You cannot be sending private text messages like he has been, talking about non-public information. If the SEC catches wind of that, and they have to have seen it by now because he's been taunting them in videos and Facebook posts for months. So even if it is true, he may be in a world of trouble because he's talking about a public company, MULN, that he has a 51-49 joint venture with that is going to materially impact, if it's true, the parent company that we own, MULN, last trade 97 cents. So I am going to be shocked if they don't have some questions, namely, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you texting? And I'm talking about average Joes that might own 10,000 shares that somehow got his number. You see it's his cell phone. You see his phone number. Most of the time they blotch it out. But he's saying, yeah, my people are over there. But he took that Facebook post down from a week ago. But today he once again said he's got people over there. Who are these people? And they're about ready to sign a deal, and it's going to be announced by Tuesday. So the market obviously thinks something's going on. If it's me, in closing, and you own the stock at 1.5, and you've got bigger than a 10% position as I do, that's enough. Because if it is a Saudi deal and they are about to take half of billions, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, anything is possible. But if this turns out to be a farce, do not be surprised if this guy ends up in jail again, as he was 20 or so years ago on securities fraud and writing bad checks. Believe it or not, folks, I hated to be one of the bearers of bad news. I would love nothing more, because I own the fucking stock, than for this guy to be right. But when you see some of the lies that he's told and the timetable, which continues, as is with the case with MULN, to keep getting extended out, it's hard not to believe that he's full of shit. But as we approach 99 cents at 1:45, so again, I'm anticipating we're probably gapping up north of $1 after hours. But I'm not buying any more. At this point, I'm thrilled that my loss has been more than cut in half in the last few hours. And if you listen to me, as I can prove, if you go to Try Small Biz on Twitter, I said it was a rebuy at 80. So yeah, for the idiot that said, I could have bought it at 73, you got me there. But I said, lay off at 118, okay to buy it again at 80 cents. And until next time, always remember that I love you guys. Have a very happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. And I'll see you on the other side. Oh.